Hello, everybody. I'm going to run you guys through kind of moving myself here, how things are going to go for today. And I'm going to run you guys through some questions and some slides. So, really, really fast. First of all, thanks for behaving yourselves today and doing all the things you need to do. The substitute teacher should give you guys a packet of things that are going to be due for you guys on Monday. All right, so get some work done on those. But first, why don't you guys grab out your notebooks and we're going to go through some slides today so that you guys understand kind of some things about what happens with Native American tribes. While you guys are doing that, first, some reminders. We've got some tests coming up. If you didn't get above a 90 on the states and capitals pre-test the other day, you've got the western half of the country coming up next Monday. That's going to be everything west of the Mississippi River, including Alaska and Hawaii. Now, once that's over, we're probably looking at like middle of next week taking a test on Chapter 2. That's the one here about Manifest Destiny and the cost of expansion. Some of you guys may have seen I put some grades in to Infinite Campus last night and did a whole lot of comments and feedback on homework assignments. So make sure that you're taking a look at your grades and expect more to be coming soon. Also, another reminder that we have parent-teacher conferences from 4 to 8 on Thursday. And, I won't be available for every minute of those because I've got football practice until 6. But I'll be inside from 6 to 8. Remember to have your parents come by and see me if they come in. Now, today we're going to look at issues with Native American tribes. We're going to do 2 slides, and then you're going to get work time on the packet that you guys have got. Obviously, ask any questions that you need to when I come back, or you can message me if you get really stuck. Like I said, I'm at a doctor's appointment with my daughter, so I'm available. All right, so the first slide that we're going to look at today is about something called the Fort Laramie Treaty. And so once white people get on the trains 6 days west, start to expand out all over the place, looking for land, looking for gold, looking for theoretically a better life, there start to be some more conflicts with the tribes that live all over the plains. And those tribes, they're obviously unhappy that people are on their hunting grounds, on their land, trying to take away their land, kind of ruining their tradition and their way of life. And so the U.S. government figures out that eventually there's going to be a problem. And so the government decides that they want to sign some kind of treaty with all of the tribes on the Great Plains in order to make sure that they have control over what's going on. And so I said that it's a shady agreement between the U.S. with the different native tribes of the West. The reason it's shady is the tribes were kind of forced to sign it. The army rode all over the place and went and saw all the different tribes and was like, hey, listen, we want to invite you guys to this meeting at this place called Fort Laramie. We think it'd be a really good idea if you guys send a representative from your tribe, probably 2. So most tribes sent their chief and then their shaman. Shaman's your medicine man. And they invited the tribes in, and through a translator, they explained to the tribes that, hey, we've got this treaty, and here are the things that they want, and blah, 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 blah. Well, none of the Native American leaders really liked this, and so they refused to sign the treaty. The army was like, that's fine, that's okay, we're trying to make a deal. But since you guys came this way, we're going to feed you. Now, everybody always thinks that the government probably poisoned the leaders. That's not what they did. Instead, they took them outside of the fort and said, hey, while you guys are eating, we thought we'd show you guys some cool stuff. Over here, these are American cannons and artillery, kind of like the big guns. And over there in the distance, that looks like your village. We set up teepees and wigwams, and heck, we even got some horses out there, and we made some wooden people that wear clothes that look like you wear. And we're going to show you what our guns could do to your village. And then they waylaid the crap out of the village for like 10 minutes while people tried to eat. And then they said, hey, now that you guys have seen that, who wants to sign the treaty? And a lot of the tribes felt intimidated, and so they signed the treaty. Well, they agreed to 3 parts and things. First of all, the tribes agreed to give up some of their land. And as a matter of fact, the tribes, like, let's say this window I'm in was the tribal land, okay, the square that I'm sitting in. Most of the tribes, what they agreed to is they agreed to go live in like this little piece right up here, just over here. And the white people were like, yep, you live up here now, just up here. The rest of this over here, this is all white guy land now, okay? And the tribes agreed to that because they felt threatened. They also agreed not to bother any white settlers coming through. So if there was a white settler going through this area, you know, and the tribes like got ticked off because they were on their land and attacked them, the tribal land would get even smaller up here. Okay, even smaller. And so the tribes slowly watched their land start to dwindle. Okay. The second thing, and this was supposed to be the good thing, we're going to give you supplies and money. Yay. Okay. Now, supplies, what did we give them? We gave them forks, we gave them blankets, we gave them plates and all these things. And the tribes didn't really want or need them because they had their own stuff that they made by hand that was traditional. Well, some people say it was an attempt to Americanize the tribes. And I think many of you guys have heard the stories where maybe, some native people got really sick and died from diseases that were in blankets. And, did white people do that on purpose? No, they didn't know. But I don't think they exactly minded when a bunch of tribal people died. Last but not least, it says the U.S. would mediate any disputes between tribes. So let's say that tribe A lives over here and tribe B lives over here, okay, on the other sides of things, and they don't really always get along. And someone from this tribe shoots a buffalo and it wanders over here and it dies onto the other tribe's land. Now, whose buffalo is that? Is it the guy that shot it, or is it the person whose land that it died on? Well, you could get a big argument. And so the United States, well, whoa, we don't want you guys to fight. We don't want you guys to fight. So we'll come in and we'll mediate the dispute. Now, if you don't know what mediate means where a neutral third party helps just solve something. So if I'm sitting at my kitchen table, by the way, if this jar of stuff that my wife bought has an argument with this thing of olives that my wife bought, I have no clue. I just grabbed stuff, and they're gonna fight. I get in the middle and I say, "Hey, you and you, what is your argument?" And then I decide who's right, and probably just eat both of them anyway. Okay. Now, if the buffalo thing happened and this tribe was arguing with this tribe about whose buffalo it was because it got shot and fell, there's a really easy way for me to mediate that dispute. Well, there aren't going to be any problems if we put you guys here and here. Okay. And then all the rest of this land in the middle, this belongs to white people now. So that was the three things that the tribes agreed to. Now, eventually, though, let me move myself. I'll put myself up over this lovely picture of terrible people riding through a Native American village. There start to be some problems between the tribes and the white army and the white settlers. And one of those happens at a thing called the Chivington Massacre. Now, the Chivington Massacre happens right around a second big gold rush that happens in the West. The Cheyenne Indians generally lived in an area around Pikes Peak. Pikes Peak is in the Colorado area, kind of in the Rocky Mountains. And gold was discovered there in 1859. And the people that went there to dig for gold were called 59ers because we're not very original. And the people that went in 1849 were called 49ers. And so the 59 people are 59ers. The problem was when all these white people showed up and started, digging for gold and, trying to find stuff, they were obviously on native land. Well, the natives didn't really want them there because they're trying to hunt, they're trying to live their lives, and thousands and thousands and thousands of white people are coming in because they want to get rich quick. And so the Cheyenne Indians, that's the Cheyenne word, it's Cheyenne, not Cheyenne or anything like that. The Cheyenne leader, a guy named, his name isn't really Black Kettle, but it translates to Black Kettle, go to the army and ask for protection from the settlers. The army says, of course, we'll protect you from the settlers. Now, I don't think that's legit. The army isn't going to protect the tribe from settlers. The army's there to protect the settlers from the tribe. And so there were still occasional problems between the settlers and the Indians and then the army. So eventually, in 1864, this guy named Colonel, Collonel, spells colonel, it's a French word. This guy named John Chivington, who was a colonel in the U.S. Army, decides that he is going to get involved in this. I need you to understand that 1861 to 1865 is the Civil War. So the best army guys we've got are fighting the Civil War. And the second, you guys want to meet one of my cats? Come here, buddy. This is Loki. He was meowing because he wants to go out in the garage. All right, sorry for this interruption. Say hi, Loki. All right, I'm going to let him out in the garage quick. Hang on. Problems with recording at home. All right. So anyway, from 1868 to 1865 is the Civil War. Our best guys are fighting this Civil War, which means we send our second best and sometimes not very good people out into the West to deal with the Indians. One of those people was John Chivington. John Chivington thought that the world would be much better if every Native American person was wiped clean off the planet and killed. kind of a genocide type thing, if you know what that means. And he wrote in a document, kind of his own diary, that he would be the person, and he said, "I will put an end to the Indian menace." So he's looking to kill people. And so we found a peaceful Cheyenne village. Now, the reason we know it's peaceful, there were no warriors there. There were basically no men over the age of like 15 or 16 there. They were all out on a hunt, which means this village was full of women, children, and elderly people. Okay. So Shivington tells his men, we're going to go down there and we are going to take care of these people and we're going to wipe out the problem once and for all because these people are violent, these people are scary, these people are dangerous, these people are going to hurt the settlers, these people are going to kill us. And when the army showed up, Black Kettle realized this didn't look very good. And so he sent a kid out with a white flag, waving a white flag. Now, if you know anything about the world, you know that a white flag is a symbol of surrender. Now, some of Shivington's men went, "Hey, look, they're waving a white flag. We should accept. They're trying to give up." And Shivington said, "Oh, it's a trick. They're not trying to surrender. That's a war flag. We need to go down there and attack." And so Shivington orders his men to attack. So most of his men ride down to the village. Some of the men are like, "Nope, screw that. I'm not listening to you. This isn't right. I'm staying here." And so Shivington orders his men down to the village. And when they get down to the village, he gives the following order. And this is a quote from one of the people that was there. Shivington says, "Kill and scalp all big and little." And so the elderly people were all scalped. Now, if you don't know what that means is you kind of take someone's hair like this, you take a knife, you cut around like this, and you cut off basically all the skin around the top of the head. Now, it's going to be really horribly painful. You're probably going to bleed to death. It's going to be a really horrible way for an elderly person to die. They disemboweled the women. Now, disembowel means you take a knife and you stick it in like here. You stick it in like here, and you cut like a smiley face. And all your guts are going to go bleh. Now, the problem with that is you're not going to die right away. You're going to suffer a horrible, terrible, painful death while you bleed to death, and it's just going to be awful. Hopefully, you go into shock or pass out really quickly. And the children that were there, they clubbed them to death with their guns. They used their guns like baseball bats and beat kids' heads and babies, children, the whole thing. A few of the young survived because they hid the mothers hid them before the army got down there. But all in all, it was a total massacre, awful thing. People that didn't deserve to get killed got killed. 450 Cheyenne were killed. A couple days later, the warriors all come back from the hunt and they find their elderly dead and their women disemboweled and their children beaten to death and a few living people still. And so the Cheyenne decided to retaliate. But rather than retaliating against the army, they went, "Hey, if you're going to kill our peaceful people, we're going to kill your peaceful people." And so they attacked settlers and miners and small towns of white people. And this went back and forth until eventually the Cheyenne decided that they couldn't fight anymore. And they gave up and were moved to a reservation in Indian Territory. Now, if you look, you'll see that there is a little chunk of Cheyenne and Arapaho land right here where my mouse pointer is moving. And obviously, Indian Territory is now known as Oklahoma, the capital of which is Oklahoma City. All right, so now that's everything I was going to talk about with you guys today. I hope you guys got those things down. If you didn't, you can always go back and pause, pull it back and pause. Don't forget that you've got that packet to work on. And for some of you guys, you've got states and capitals to study for Monday. I'll be back next class. I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys had a good day. Bye-bye.